capacity. Okay, so far there are a couple of things that I would like to repeat. So if you're given a channel, sorry, given a source, we know the rate of information, rate of the rate of information per second, if you remember, was given by this small quantity r. That means, um, sorry, yeah. So rate of information is some per second, or this is basically r is the rate of information which is measured in terms of symbols per second. That means these are the number of symbols that the source is emitting per second, right? And for this source, we used to have an entropy.
Yes.
Which we used to call as hx, where x is basically the input, and this was nothing but bits per symbol. So we used to say that let me just to avoid confusion, let me just not write it rate of information. So let me just say that r was the number of messages or number of signals or symbols transmitted per second. Okay, so if r was that and hx was the entropy, so we used to say that the rate of information, which was rate of information by the source was given by a quantity r, which was nothing but small r times h, and it was measured as bits per second. So this was the quantity that was of interest to us when we were looking at it from the point of view of the source. Now, if the source is emitting information,
Yes.
then if the source is emitting information, then that information is transmitted through a channel. Much like if you want to carry water, you will use a bucket to carry water, right? And generally, if we look at it intuitively, then we can say that if the rate of information is increasing, then the chance of error per second, if the number of bits per second increases, that means in 1 second you are able to transmit more number of bits, then intuitively the common sense will tell you that, if the number of bits are increasing, then the error per second should also increase, because जितना ज़्यादा आपका number of bits जाएंगे, उतने chances हैं कि भाई किसी एक में error हो. It's like saying that, if you have a crowd of 100, the chances of getting corona is some percentage. If there is a crowd of 1000, the chances of getting corona is obviously more, right? And if you take the bucket example, if you're carrying, say, some amount of water, then in a bucket with a certain capacity, then it's okay. But if you increase the amount of water, then the chance of the water going out of the bucket also kind of increases a little bit. So that's intuitively the common sense, right? So let me just write it down. So generally speaking, if r increases, one would expect the error to also increase in transmission. However, this does not happen. And up to a certain limit of rate of information, if you keep on increasing it, that does not necessarily mean that the error will increase. And that was a very phenomenal result that revolutionized transmission of data in the digital format. And the man who was credited for actually mathematically proving this was a man popularly known as Shannon. So Shannon gave a theorem, and Shannon said, so let me just write. Shannon said that intuitively we may think that if the rate of information is increasing, the probability of error will also increase. But he said that, okay, if you keep the rate of information up to a certain level, or if the information rate is below a certain level, then even if it is increasing, the probability of error would necessarily be almost zero or zero. And we witness that almost every time we talk. Right now, whatever I'm saying, you're able to hear. And that is because the rate of information transmission through the channel at which it is transmitting at a rate which is less than that maximum level. So no matter what I say, the probability of you hearing what I say is almost equal to 1. And that is the success of communication. And Shannon was able to prove it. So Shannon basically said, so let me just write it, that, there is a theorem by Shannon. Shannon says, I mean, of all the times that I've studied this subject or taught this subject, I am never really tried to find out whether he was actually given a Nobel Prize for it, because he deserved it. I don't know whether he got one or not, but I think maybe Nyquist should have gotten one, because he was the father of digital communication in some sense. Okay, Shannon said, so there is a Shannon theorem which states that if the rate of information is less than equal to some C, which is basically called as channel capacity. If the rate of information transmission, where this is your basically R times H that you evaluate, if is less than channel capacity, then error-free transmission is possible. He actually proved it mathematically, and that's why this is considered to be a big deal. And it's also practically witnessed every day, and it's become so much a part of our life we don't even think about it. But he was the first one to actually prove it and laid the foundation for modern communication systems. He said, however, there are a couple of things that we must keep in mind. However, this would require large blocks of data to be encoded at the same time. To be encoded, that means if a source is sending, say, 10 symbols in a message, then perhaps it would be better if we have 20. So it says a large block of data will be encoded in form of zeros and ones or whatever digital scheme you take. And this would actually require highly competent computational network. This would require highly intensive computational setup and would be time consuming. So this was this statement that he made. This statement was made at the time in the early 20th century, or maybe mid 20th century, when these things were actually a challenge. But nowadays we have very intensive computational setups, and the time obviously is of an order of maybe nanoseconds or milliseconds. I mean, you can imagine whatever I'm speaking sitting in, say, university, you're able to hear almost instantly. So the time lag is almost minimal, right? So nowadays it's possible. So he just mathematically proved something long time back, almost close to 100 years back. And at that point of time, intensive computational was probably not there. And probably this would have entailed a lot of time for the encoding process to actually happen. But these days it happens seamlessly and unnoticeably. So this constraint that he talked of is no longer existing. So now Shannon theorem is very attractive, that so long as this rate is less than this channel capacity, you will be able to get error-free transmission, or the probability of error is going to be very, very small. And if R is greater than C, then you cannot transmit anything without an error. So if you can you can just say like this also, that if R is greater than C, then there cannot be an error-free transmission. So this was what basically Shannon theorem states. Now, just a couple of formulas I'll mention, and I think probably that will be it. We don't have to go much beyond it. So what is this value of C? So this C that Shannon said was basically B log 2 1 plus S by N. So this B was nothing but the bandwidth of the channel and S by N was the signal to noise ratio in the channel. So, what is most fascinating is that generally when, of course, there is no channel through which a signal can be transmitted that doesn't have noise. But even with noise, Shannon said that you can attain error-free transmission so long as R is less than C. That is why this became a very, appealing thing, even at that point of time when people were skeptical about such things, that, it was just too good to be avoided. And people did research on this area and communication drastically improved. So even in presence of noise, if R is less than C or equal to C, you will obtain error-free transmission. B is the bandwidth of channel, and log it is to the base 2, and the unit is, of course, bits per second. Okay, so this is the basic formula for C, channel capacity, and this noise that you have is generally considered as white noise. White noise, which is additive. So it is basically additive white noise. White noise is a special kind of noise. There are different kinds of noise. I think maybe in communication theory, you may have heard of it. There is a thermal noise, and there is this white noise. And, there are different kinds of noises that you probably may have studied in principles of communication. But white noise is a noise which has a Gaussian distribution, and its power spectral density is constant, which is eta by 2. And it's additive in the sense that the output of the entire process is nothing but sum of the input plus noise. So if the noise can get added to the system, it's additive. If it gets multiplied to the input in a system, then it's multiplicative. So the noise that actually is encountered in communication channels is always an additive noise. So this noise here is white noise, and it has a power spectral density of eta by 2. So I think maybe in signal and system, you may heard of something called power spectral density. Power spectral density. And that is basically eta by 2. And this is basically watt per unit hertz or whatever. So this is power spectral density. So the unit of power per unit frequency. And this is what is for white noise. Now, if you look at this formula, we can say that the channel capacity is directly proportional to bandwidth, which means that if you increase the bandwidth, the channel capacity will increase accordingly. So if we say that we have a channel which has a huge bandwidth, let's say huge over here, let's say that if B tends to infinity, so can we say that the channel capacity also increases and goes to infinity? I mean, if you look at this formula, then you'll say that yes, but it's actually not true, and we'll see why that is not true. But actually what happens is that you can increase the bandwidth to very high value, but still you will get a finite value of channel capacity. So that means no channel has an infinite capacity. If that were true, we could have just sent everything through one channel. All the data in this entire world could have been sent through one channel if this channel capacity C would have been infinity, but that's not true, right? We have different modes through which we send different kinds of signals. So let's prove now one thing, which is that if beta tends to infinity, C tends to some value which is C infinity, which is actually a finite value. And from the looks of this equation, it doesn't seem that way. But let's try to find out how we get to this equation. Okay. So we know that C is B log 2 1 plus S by N. Okay. So now if B is the channel bandwidth, the data that has to be transmitted through this channel must at least be transmitted at Nyquist frequency. So the data transmission, and this bandwidth is in hertz. So the data transmission should at least happen at 2B hertz, which is the Nyquist rate. Right? It could be greater, but it is at least this much. So if the noise, if this is the bandwidth, and if noise has a power spectral density of eta by 2, that means one can say that the noise power is eta by 2 into the bandwidth, because then that will give me watts, which is power. So it is eta into B. So that much watts basically is the power associated with the noise. So if I substitute that in this equation, so C becomes B log of 2 1 plus S eta B. Okay. So now what I do is that I divide and multiply by eta and S. I do this outside and I write this as log 2 1 plus S over eta B. So this is your C. So I write this as S over eta, and then I get N beta over S log of 2 1 plus S n beta. So now since it's log, what I can do is that I can take whatever I've written over here, this quantity, I can take and put it as power here. So I can write this as S by eta log to 1 plus 1 upon S beta n to the power of eta, sorry, to the power of eta b by S, right? So this becomes your C. So now if I say that let S upon eta b be some x value, so I can write this equation as C is equal to S by eta log to the base 2 1 plus x to the power 1 upon x, right? Then I think the x quantity I'll write here again is basically S over n beta, nb, sorry. So as b tends to infinity, x tends to 0. And we know that limit x tending to 0, 1 plus x to the power x, 1 upon x, is nothing but e. So if you put limiting condition here, which is going to be x equal to 0, then we will obtain the value of C infinity, which we are obtaining because we're taking beta to be tending to infinity, at which x tends to 0. So this value would be S upon eta log e to the base 2. And this value is, so if you calculate log e to the base 2, this would come out to be roughly 1.44 S by eta. So you can see that even if the bandwidth tends to infinity, which is that if there is any channel that has an enormous amount of bandwidth, even then the channel capacity is limited by the power of the signal and the power spectral density of the noise. So you cannot say that C infinity also tends to infinity. So there will always be a cap to the maximum rate of information that you can send through a channel, no matter how big that channel is. So this was something which is important because it's of a practical point of view. So this was also something that Shannon had proven. So this is a channel capacity for channels with infinite bandwidth, or you could say in practical terms, a channel which has some great amount of bandwidth available. Okay. So I think this was another important thing that I had to mention. We are just nearing the end of this unit. So we can talk in terms of efficiency also. What is the efficiency of transmission? So if we look at the efficiency, I for a moment forgot how to write efficiency. Have I written it correctly? I don't know. Is it? Yeah, seems that way. So if efficiency is, I don't know what quantity I should call it. Let me call efficiency as alpha. So efficiency alpha is nothing but rate of information transmission divided by the channel capacity, because this is what you are actually transmitting and this is the maximum. And in terms of percentage, if you need to evaluate, then in terms of percentage, you'll just simply multiply it by 100 and you'll get the percentage efficiency. There is another quantity that we also call redundancy. And this is nothing but this is simply 1 minus alpha. Okay. And if you want to calculate its percentage, then you can accordingly calculate its percentage. So that's pretty much it. I don't So this unit is kind of over in the sense that we have finished the last topic. There's just one thing that I want to mention is that sometimes in numericals, S by N ratio is given in dB, which is in decibels. So if it is given in decibel, that means that 10 log to the base 10 S by N will be that X decibel. So you will have to evaluate the value of X by N from this equation and then substitute it in the formula for C. Okay, so this is basically the decibel conversion formula. So let's probably do a couple of numericals in this and then we'll conclude it. So let's look at some couple of numericals. We'll do 2 numericals. So let's look at them one by one. So suppose there is a AWGN channel. So AWGN means additive. Yeah, we'll finish the class today in 40 minutes only. So AWGN channel is basically additive white Gaussian noise. Okay, so that is basically the noise that we're talking of. This is additive white Gaussian noise. Additive means, I repeat again, the output is basically the sum of input plus noise. White means that it has a power spectral density of eta by 2, which is constant. And Gaussian means that if you look at its distribution, it will follow something like this, a bell curve. That is why it is called additive white Gaussian noise. Additive white and Gaussian. That's why it's called additive white Gaussian noise. So it says that the additive white Gaussian noise, it has a bandwidth. The channel has a bandwidth of 4 kilohertz, and the noise power spectral density, which is eta by 2, is given to you as 10 to the power of minus 12 watts per hertz. Okay. The signal power which is received is 0.1 milliwatts. Generally in communications, the signal power is kind of less because let's say that something is being sent from one end to another. Let's say that there is a signal which is sent from India to say Australia. Then it is never sent through direct links, it's sent through a satellite. So it has to go from the Earth station to first the satellite, and from satellite it will be again transmitted back to say Australian some station where it will be received. So you'll send a very high powered signal from the Earth. As it moves up, obviously it will lose most of its power because of whatever disturbances and whatever obstructions it will encounter. And state-of-the-art equipment is there on the satellite that will be able to capture even a milliwatt powered signal. And once it captures it, it kind of refreshes it and it sends it back. Again, a high powered signal, which of course will then travel through a lot of obstructions to signals, and then it will reach Australia and its Earth station over there. And that station will also have the capability to receive a very low powered signal. So these equipments, they are state of the art in the sense that they measure very, very small values of power. I mean 0.1 milliwatt is 10 to the power minus 3, right? So very small. So anyway, so moving further, the question is find out the channel capacity. So the question is that you need to find out C. So if you just apply the formula, it's a straightforward problem. It was basically 1 plus S by N, right? So B we already know, which is 4 kilohertz. S we already know, which is 0.1 milliwatts. We have to find basically N. So N is nothing. And if you look at N, if you remember, it was power spectral density into the Nyquist rate at which the data is being sent, right? So this power spectral density is 10 to the power minus 2, which is given to you, into 2 times 4 kilohertz. Okay, so now you have N, you have S, you already have B, which is 4 kilohertz. You substitute in the formula, you will get some value of C, and that value comes out to be 444 bits per second. Okay, so that's pretty much it, and that's it. I think we are done with this, and I'll send some practice problems now for the entire unit by tonight on the group. Some of them will have answers, the others will not have answers. That's because they're unsolved problems. So once I solve them, I will send it to you. No need to submit it back. It's just for your practice. And that's it. So for the coding, Huffman coding and Shanpan coding and all, I will take about 10-15 days, and I will send a collection of 5 to 6 lectures, video lectures on the group at one time, so that you have all the lectures in one message on the Google Classroom, and you can go through it. It's very simple. Some of you may have already done it at some point of time or the other, and that's it. The next class, which happens now next week, you'll be starting error coding, which is going to be taken by Dr. Ayushi Barthelme. All right then, thank you, and
Sir,
enjoy the weekend. Yeah.
सर मिडसेम 2 नहीं होंगे एंड सब लाइक या प्रोजेक्ट कब मिलेगा आपने कहा था
So yeah, I'll discuss it with Dr. Ayushi about how we are going to proceed with it. Most likely, I will we'll let you know maybe in a week or 1.5 weeks time. We'll let you know. Okay. So we'll
Okay,
get
sir.
an information on the Google Classroom only. Okay.
Sir, any progress regarding the result? You were talking
yes,
about that.
Yes. The result draft has come to me. I've actually seen the result because the evaluation branch has sent it to us so that we can have a look at it once, and then finally we'll approve it and it will go back and the result will come. So most of you, all of you have performed well. That's understandable. The only problem why the result is not will probably take a little bit of time is because some of the third year students opted for course codes from the second year. Technical writing में कुछ students हैं जिनका course code गलत लिखा हुआ है, और एक शायद डिजिटल इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स में सेकेंड ईयर का स्टूडेंट है, उसका कोर्स कोड गलत लिखा है, तो वो हम रेक्टिफाई करवा रहे हैं. वो रेक्टिफाई जैसे ही होगा रिजल्ट डिक्लेयर हो जाएगा, तो ज्यादा टाइम नहीं लगेगा, बट रिजल्ट इज प्रीटी मच रेडी, so it will come, so don't worry. Maybe in another 10 days you'll definitely get the result. So we've already sent it back to evaluation. That happened yesterday with the corrections that we want. So I think in a week's time or something you should get the result. aa jayega result. So that's the update on result, and you can share it with even the second year students, okay, if you're in touch with them. Okay,
Okay, sir.
okay, thank you, bye bye, enjoy the weekend, see you, bye.